Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the Helifar Fuuton 2, and finally got around to reviewing this. I think I'm getting the sort of the second round of reviews here. This has been reviewed, I think, quite a bit already, and looking like it was a pretty good model based on some of the reviews I saw, so I was really looking forward to flying this, but I did have a couple of issues I think you guys should know about. Well, I'll just go over quickly what you get on here. I'm not going to spend too much time on the parts. The parts are pretty nice. I mean, it comes with a frame that's kind of like a Floss 2 inspired design. I haven't seen it anywhere else in terms of like it being an exact copy of something, but it is definitely, there's a lot of frames like this out there with the separated arms and the sort of center section where the arms are kind of pushed to the outside. So this is nothing new, but I just thought you guys should know that it is kind of a Floss 2 type of design. The parts inside are really nice electronics. It comes with Holybro parts, the Kakute all-in-one F4, so that's the flight controller and PDB all-in-one, and it comes with an Etladel video transmitter. It goes to 600 milliwatts, and I think I was just at 200 milliwatts. And it does come with a FreeSky receiver, and the product description says this comes with an XM Plus, but mine actually came with an XSR receiver, and the antenna wires came out like this, and I just put a little zip tie here. Just did this myself and heat shrunk it on both sides. This is how a lot of people usually set up their antennas. Props on here, I don't know, they're clones of something, 5048 props. I don't really like them that much. I would recommend switching them out for something you like. I think the motors are 2305 motors, 2400 kV. They're okay motors, pretty good power, not too bad. I think also the ESCs are 32-bit ESCs, also from Holybro. So kind of reminds me a lot of the, basically kind of the way the Copus 1 was built, with the same sort of similar parts, all-in-one flight controller plus the ESCs on the arms. Obviously we got different motors here, a different frame, but kind of gives you that similar feel. But this frame here uses a Runcam Micro Swift instead of the Mini Swift that was on the Holybro Copus. But I thought this also kind of flew similarly to the Copus. In terms of like light, maybe this has like lighter motors, but not super amounts of power, but decent power. This very much remind me of a Holybro Copus 1 in terms of the feel when I flew it. So I'll go ahead and I'll get right into the flight demo. Just want to explain to you what happened in my basically my flight. As you know, I've been doing all of my reviews lately basically out of the box, sort of the out of the box experience, maidens, so you guys can see what this is like, flaws and everything. And I was expecting it to have, you know, a really nice polished out-of-the-box experience because, you know, it's got nice parts. It looked like it was well built, well constructed, good soldering, all of that. It looks like they put a lot of thought into the model, but they made a mistake somewhere, and it's actually pretty significant. I had a flip of death towards the end of the battery, about 3.5, maybe 4 minutes into the flight. I wanted to do one last punch out over some trees, and I got a death roll. Ended up landing on the battery, destroyed the battery, squished it. But unfortunately, I was able to keep on flying because I landed directly on the battery. So I just took off again, flew around a little bit more. I didn't even break a prop or anything. I did damage one of the arms right there. You can see the end of the arm is delaminated from the crash. But none of the motors were damaged or any other parts were damaged. Just I destroyed my battery. And the reason I got the death roll is that I want to actually hook it up to the computer, because I didn't hook it up to the computer. I just put the props on, bound the receiver, and I went and flew it. And wanted to see how things would go. And everything went great until about the very end there, as I mentioned, about 3.5, 4 minutes into the flight. Got the death roll, and the reason I got the death roll is because they didn't put a tune on this. It's really funny. No tune, default PIDs, everything, but they changed the digital idle speed of the motors from the normal default of 4.5% to 2%. I have no idea why they did that. It made no sense. And so basically, the motors were too slow. When you arm and you're in air mode, the motor will spin, and when the idle is very low, it was spinning very slowly. And I kind of noticed that when I first took off, I'm like, oh, this was very quiet. I didn't really hear much. It didn't seem like it was going very fast. And that was the reason why I think I got the death roll. They should have left it at the default of 4.5%. I don't know why they kept it so low. And I think what happened was when I was at the end of the battery and I did a punch out, and since the motor idle was so low and the voltage was also kind of low, I think it sagged to like 12 volts or something like that. Basically, one of the motors probably didn't spin up enough, and I got the death spiral. And it wasn't a full death spiral. I was able to kind of recover and flip it over so that it ended up landing on the battery, so it didn't have a really bad crash. But that's, I think, the reason why. And I don't know why they set that to 2%. They should have left it at 4.5%, which is the Betaflight default. They left the default PIDs in there, so it would make sense that they would leave the default digital idle in there, but for whatever reason, they didn't do that. So I think that was the reason why. So if you get this model, I would recommend upping the digital idle from 2% to 4.5%, which is the default, and I think that should probably fix the problem. In any event, I'll go ahead and I'll show you the flight demo footage. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Okay, so this is the maiden flight of the Helifar Fuuton 2. There's been a lot of hype on this model. I haven't done any changes. I just bound the receiver and put the props on, and it looks like it's got the Betaflight. I think we're running Betaflight 3 or 3.2 default PIDs on here. And we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and fly and see how this thing does. Feels pretty smooth already. No oscillations or weird vibrations. Pretty nice. Actually feels faster than it looks. Thought it wouldn't be this fast, but it's pretty fast. Yeah, I don't think I like these props all that much. These are some kind of 5048 prop of something. I think it's a clone of something. Not sure if I'm a fan of these props. They're smooth, they don't seem to cause too many issues. And this is the default PID tune, has not been tuned at all, so it looks like it's flying alrighty. Even on the default tune, it's kind of hard to get prop wash to come out. Seems to be pretty smooth overall. Yeah, I can't really say a whole lot about this. It flies nice and smooth. No issues. Pretty fast. It's not the fastest I've seen on 5-inch, but pretty nice. And the fact that it comes out of the box without having to do a lot of work is nice. I mean, this looked like, I don't know what kind of team that they have over there at GearBest. But they have, it seems like they have different teams working on their products. Like sometimes these drones, they come out and they look like they're really unfinished, unpolished. This one did look like it was well thought out from the factory. Seemed like it was well built, good parts chosen. I mean, they even have spare parts available if you crash and break something. It almost feels like this is like a Holybro Copus type of design. It's got all the Holybro electronics in there, except for the motors, of course. I don't think these are, I don't think these are branded by anything, by anybody. But yeah, I'm almost at 4 minutes at 14.5 volts. Let's try a couple more punch outs here. And there, whoa! Just got a death roll there, probably because I'm near the end of the battery. I think I saved it there at the end. I don't think I broke any props or anything. I don't hear anything unusual going on, but yeah, I had a little death roll there right at the top of the punch out. Probably because my battery was too low, perhaps, but that's not a good sign. Interesting. We'll have to see if the battery has been squished or not, because I think I landed on the battery. It's strange that the voltage has recovered back to 14.4. Thought the battery was totally dead, but maybe it's just low on that punch out. I did see the voltage sag to something like 12 volts, but I'll have to check the DVR footage again. It did look like it came down pretty low. Maybe these ESCs don't like that, or maybe I need to update the ESCs. I don't know what firmware is on here. Everything was going pretty smooth until the end. It seems like there's no damage to it. I'm flying it still, and it doesn't sound like the props are broken or anything, and nothing looks like it's damaged, no vibrations or oscillations. But I think I'll go ahead and I'll bring it in here, and that'll be the end of this demo flight. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of that interesting little mishap there. It looked like a death roll to me, but I was able to pull out of it. It didn't go completely into a death roll, and it did crash on the bottom or on the battery. So let's see what the damage is like. So yeah, here's the damage report. The battery did get squished, and it looks like some delamination on one of these arms right there where it landed pretty hard, probably on the back side. So yeah, definitely did get a little damage, but other than that, it was flying okay. Of course, this battery is completely toast now. Probably won't be able to fly with this battery again.